49.
9, 4.
9, 9. Pop me down, Tony. Pop me down.
I got you. Yeah, you're not going out live.
You ready for the number? Okay.
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah. 5, 4, 9.
Oh yeah. We'll pop in a second, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Say hi to everyone. We're live right now. We're 1 minute in, man. Yep. Hey everyone, welcome to the Friday show. Welcome to Burnie's Applebox. That's Burnie. I hope. Yeah, he's there. Hey, if you're watching, give us a shout out. Let us know where you're watching in the world.
Yes, yeah, let us know where you're coming from and put live and where you're from, and that would be awesome. Did you share those to Bernie's? Okay. Okay. Gary?
Yes.
So do you have Tony's number? You're not linked in yet. Yeah. On start. Okay, here's Tony's. Hold on. Okay. 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 714. Yeah, it's the one first, but I thought Tony told me you had. Ready? Yes. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Hit a 1, 1, 4, 5, 0, 1, 9, 8, 4, 9. You're ringing?
It says you're the only one on the call.
It says, okay, Tony, you hear me? It says he's the only one on the call. He's calling your personal number. He has Skype up. Yes. I'll come on. I'll come on. Okay, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Burnie here. All right. Well, it's just us this time. Tony and Gary are trying to figure it out right here. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Really haven't had a good look at what I'm looking at. But, hey, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. We are going to be talking about financial futures, and we probably have more questions than answers, to tell you the truth. But we're going to try to figure it out together here. I know one thing. This has been, and I'm sure I almost am echoing everyone out there who is watching, never seen anything like this, never been in this position. It is still, after 2 months, such a great big unknown out there at this point. I mean, I really don't know when we're going to be back strong. I don't know what we're going to do when we're back as far as our immediate industry is concerned. There's a few things that I am formulating right now, and that is, and I think the biggest one of all, the snowball that's coming downhill, everything is changing. And I would really like to reiterate, I think that's the best thing that's going to happen to us all. It's going to be gut-wrenching. Not everybody is going to be a winner. I will say this, if you are trying to hold on to what you did in the past too tightly, you're probably not going to do well. I'd say if you can let go of some things, if you can reimagine yourself, you will probably do very well, because I really, truly, honestly believe, and I am operating under this assumption right now, that we are in the best time of opportunity that has happened in 100 years. And I believe in 100 years, people will look back on this period of time and say, that's when the new millennium started. I think they'll identify this crisis as when the new world for the next 1,000 years started. So I really want you to open your minds up today, and I think that's really what we're sort of going to be talking about and delving into. First of all, I would like to hear from all of you. I am remiss for not having it with me at this very moment, but I am going to be giving away a book. And let me just say that for the best question or insight or anything like that, that's how I'm going to pick it. The one that moved me the most was me a question. Oh, Gary Heimann decided to join us. Gary, you're late.
Hey, I figure, Burnie, if I touch enough buttons, I'll get to you.
That's my method, Gary. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Well, good to have you, buddy. I was just saying that, you know, we start in the new dynamic here. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that anybody immediately knows what's going to happen. But what I was saying is I think we're in a time of the best opportunity in 100 years. And I think that this is the time in the very far future that they will look back and say, that's when the new millennium actually started. And we are going to go on a major, major change in our world. And we all have the opportunity to participate. So I really, truly believe that. I know some of the older guys, such as yourself, are going to have a tough time of it. I understand all of that. You know, me, I'll do just fine. Right. And I am giving it some shit right there. So
of course.
Just so you understand. I didn't want you to think I didn't like you or anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel right if you didn't give me shit.
Yeah, I know. That would be the truth. But really, Gary, I strongly believe that we don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen. And I would say, right in that very statement right there, that's 50% of the opportunity. You can redefine yourself. You can make yourself into something new now. Certainly for the young people, I mean, anybody under 50, this is your time to shine. This you can really, really go to town on. I mean, this is like, you can make new things right now. That is the most important. And, you know, I'm going to just take a minute too, because I want to talk about a couple things I'm doing. You know, let me give you a bit of an example, and I'm going to talk about Onset University in there too, and everything that I'm doing. You know, I will spare Tony the fact that I was a year-old PA. I won't even mention. But, you know, I got into this business midlife. This business fascinated me. I really loved the business, and I grabbed hold of it, and I realized at 40, this is what I was meant to do. You know, I started out with just a Suzuki Sidekick. I took the passenger seat out. I filled it up with sandbags. I took that to every shoot. I bought some C-stands. I bought some Stingers. I bought a couple 650s. I bought some Kino Flows, and I'd show up every day with that stuff in my car. I'd hand it out to whomever was shooting. They didn't have to pay me for it, so I moved myself up in the ranks, and I did that. Long story short, about 10 years later, I was the biggest guy in Orange County and San Diego. Of course, just south of LA, I was the biggest person G&E provider in that city. And it was fun. It was just flat out fun doing all that. It was a gut-wrenching sometimes, but it was always an adventure. You know, I took in 2015, 2016, and gathered all of that experience and everything that I had and put it into Onset University. And I did a master class, and I taped all of it. And that's where all of those tapes reside. It's about 8 hours worth of learning, and how you operate and how you do and how you handle customers and all that. I've started that up again. And because we are going through what we're going through, I'm really viewing this as we are all starting over. The ground has been leveled. It's a level playing field right now. Nobody has the advantage anymore. Whether you're young or old, knowledgeable or just learning, all of those things are on an even level right now. So I opened up Onset University. It is absolutely free for the next 3 months. It's free this month, June, July, and the payments start $797 again on August 1st. But this is the time to get in there and go through what I've learned, and you can hear me talk. Some of it is going to be relevant to you. Some of it will not be relevant to you. It'll be different things to different people. You know, I talk a lot about clients. I talk a lot about career trajectory and how you actionable things, how you actually go up the steps of the ladder, that type of thing. And I'm doing that because I think it's so important right now not to hoard it or hold on to it or try to make money off it. This is the time everybody's got to come together and help each other. That's the way I truly believe. We also have a Facebook site, a group that is Onset University Group. When you join Onset University, I put you in that group. So you'll have to request it, obviously, but you join that group, and then that's where I can do some really one-on-one talking, training, teaching, letting you know what I'm thinking, and really showing you what and where I think the opportunities are. And it's for everybody, no matter if they've been in the business 20 years or you've been in it, 2 months. It doesn't matter. So I'm offering and extending that to everybody. In fact, put in the hashtag Onset University. That'll be some of the things that I pick a winner out of. So, for the book. And I'll give a couple books away. No, I'll give 3 books away. Somebody stop me. Somebody stop me. Okay, 3 books. That's 3, Gary. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a 3 in German.
Yeah, 3. I won't go above 3. It's 3. There will be 3 books given away. I can't afford any more postage than that. That's the way it is now. Just another thing, too, Gary, to kind of complete. Because Gary and I, you can probably figure this. Gary and I, Tony, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for getting us on the air.
Right on, Tony.
Yeah. But Gary and I, we are carrying on conversations all week about financial things, about the bailout, the PPE, the small business, unemployment, all these things, So we're going around and our conversations the last few days have been on how people are treating the coming back and what does the set look like, and we started bearing down on cleaning the set and what it was going to take to make a safe set again. And while once again, and I do a lot of reading, Gary stays abreast of things, no one has figured it all out. It's not like that, so we are coming back in, but I think I'm reading it, you're reading it this way, Gary, where the set is going to have to be essentially scrubbed down.
Every time. Every shoot,
yeah.
Every location, there's got to be a scrub down.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the new policy, and especially when it comes to insurances, the liability is just going to be so outrageous for everyone on set.
No, that is going to be, I think the insurance, in fact, will be the driver of all production.
Guaranteed.
And Tony had just told me that now that Governor Newsom had just signed off and said coronavirus has to be covered by workers' comp.
Oh, boy.
And that adds a whole new dynamic to the insurance thing, to the workplace safety and all of that. So there's a great big things going on, and the set is going to go, I'd say, under a metamorphosis of just almost overnight by the next time we got on. That being said, I did have my first rental in 2 months. My first rental yesterday in 2 months. Now, normally I would be anywhere between 20 and 40 rental days per month. That is not uncommon for me. And probably it's about 32 to 37, in that normal month type cycle. So I had that, and it dawned on me when that order came in. I go, I've got to go clean all this equipment. So, 2 things. One is you can't just go to the store and find the stuff you're used to using, because I was looking for, obviously, Clorox, tools, the wipes and all of that. That's not it. But I found some really good stuff, and I posted that on Craig Burnie Burns, my personal site. I took a picture of the disinfectant bottle and put a post up there, and I put the stuff that I used in one of the comments down there. So go check that out. I don't want to mispronounce the name, so just go check that out on my site. And I realized, in doing this is a new dynamic, and it's going to have to be done. And plus, I think that they're going to have quite a cadre of cleaners on set. Would you come in before you come into it, and after you leave it, and for wherever you're going, say a company move in the same day, that set is going to have to be cleaned as well. You know what I mean? And obviously the equipment, all of that. And, I'm thinking only of my thing, but makeup, wardrobe, all of these things. Sound. You're a sound guy, Gary.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Think of that. You're in close proximity to that talent. You know what I mean? You're actually putting something on their body that is going to be, right next to them. You know? So there's going to be a process, procedures for that. So if I was you guys out there, I would be thinking very clearly about how you handle coming back. And instead of waiting to be told, start coming up with processes yourself that you can sell to a client. Because your client now wants to know, probably the first thing they want to know is, how are you safe? You know what I mean? They might have wanted to know some like, oh, what mics do you use or something like that, what camera you have. Now it's, how are you going to be safe on set? Certainly your G&E suppliers need to address that directly. And all the PPE, you know what I mean? All of that equipment. How are they dressed? What are they in? What level of masking do they have on? All of those things are going to be a definite talking point in the future.
Right. Absolutely. Bernie, as we go out and we do location interviews, and we go to these big corporate buildings or offices, and we go in as a crew, how do you assure the client that, number one, we're good, number two, all the equipment we're bringing in to the facility is good, and then on the way out, we've got to be able to clean up after our mess, and also guarantee the client that we're not leaving anything behind, especially the virus.
Right. No, I think it's, I think that is a very valid thing. And part of that is on the client as well, because the client has to assure that the people coming in have a safe environment to work in, So this is going to be, and I would like to say this too. And I know I'm the guy that's always saying, raise your rate $50. I got that. You know what I mean? I know that. No, and I sincerely mean that for a good reason. Is Tony still with us? He might have hit the phone.
He passed out.
Yeah, I went to grab some lunch. So.
Okay. Oh, good. Thanks. But, this, I'm talking about something else. Now, this, when you're having to scrub equipment down, when you have to do that as a G&A provider, you're having to take all these other steps to provide safety, which you will need to do. That is a cost. That is just flat out a new cost. Also, the fact, I will say this, that you have been off for 2 months is an additional cost, because you've stayed in the business and stayed available for that client. So don't miss those things. There's going to have to be a reworking of the money, you know what I mean, and what you charge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tony, you mentioned something about AB5, a little change in the AB5 law possibly coming for videographers.
Oh, yeah.
What did you hear, Tony?
She has actually written exemption in for videographers. The language is still kind of vague and confusing, and it doesn't seem to apply to those who are working larger productions, i.e. Like movies and such, no matter where those movies end up, either theatrical or streaming or whatnot, commercial work, live. I don't know. I said the language is very vague, but it's in its infancy right now. So I know she's trying to work it out. I know many of us would just like to see this law go away. That would be great, but it might bring a little bit of respite for those of us who are working in the small to medium area of production, or we're doing industrial kind of productions and whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. I know we're definitely keeping an eye on that. At least I know I am. So make sure that you make yourself, if you're not fully aware of what AB5 is, make sure that you go out and do some research and make sure that you educate yourself on what this law does and what it is capable of. It's not a good thing. So that's all we know for now. We'll keep it up. We actually do have some comments and
let's hear them, please.
Yeah. If actually Ron Sill makes a great comment that I think you and I were talking about, Bernie. We're going to have to go to Mandalorian-style locations in movies and TV rather than practical locations. This will allow for much more environmental control. Back to the days of backlots.
Yeah. No, I think, Ron, you are dead on. I think the technology side of this is going to come in and really be the heavy hitter now. The LCD, the LED screens, all of that are going to be incorporated in much greater need because of, And look, Mandalorian really cut the way in showing how it could be done. That is a very big leap forward for everybody. Also, CGI is going to see a resurgence like it never did, and that always had some very big problems in the way that it worked in Hollywood. You know what I mean? I think it was cut out. A lot of it was cut out because vendors over in India were frankly coming in much cheaper, and doing that. And I think that's I don't know if that's going to be solved or not, but I think it's going to be applied a lot more. You know what I mean? In CGI, I think storylines will actually change. I think there will be things that you're going to have to figure out how you're going to shoot it long before, and that's not uncommon, but long before you even pitch it. You know what I mean? That is going to have to be figured out. So,
Bernie, what about extra work? I think that's out the door now, right?
I think extra work is very, very tenuous. They'll still have them, but they won't be on the scale of 100 people. They'll be on the scale of maybe 10 people. You know what I mean? And I would say there's probably some CGI where you could have somebody in maybe a green suit, maybe extras in a green suit. Yeah, there's my wife. He's home. And just put them a few doing crosses and make different people out of them. You know what I mean? So I think once again the technology is going to be a big, big player in all of this. And I think that it's even much deeper than that. We're sort of saying, oh, the set will morph, but things will stay the same. I think we're going to a different thing. I mean, and this is the one thing that I want people to kind of walk away after this show from, is that you, yes, need to think outside of the box, but you also need to start thinking there is no box.
Right.
You have to really start thinking in a new way. I mean, I'm seeing a merge of gaming, role-playing within the movie. I don't think any of these things are on the outer side. And let's look at it, too. Look, all of our film companies have been damaged by this. I mean, the theaters have closed down. How's the theater going to reopen? There's going to be a way, but it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be the same experience, if you will. Everybody's been hurt. And, movies and studios are now owned by a bigger international conglomerate. They are not individual entities anymore. Mm-hmm. And these things get traded and bought and sold. Disney, for example, I've heard it rumored that, Google or Amazon or Apple could buy them. That would not be a big, and look at Disney. Look, their movies are down. The sports are down for ESPN. Their theme parks are down now. This is huge transition. Somebody could come and pick them up, and they could do it with all the studios, Sure. So say like a Blizzard comes in and buys Universal and says, wait, we're a gaming company. We want all of these movie properties in a game.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Instead of it being the other way around, it's gone that way. And they're saying, well, we want interactivity, so they'll put the goggles on, and maybe you can pick your character that you're going to be in that movie and have a whole different experience of being in a movie. And you can play with your friends no matter where they are in the world. I think these are the things that people have to start wrapping their head around. You know what I mean? It's going to be, and this is what I'd like to tell any young people listening, you're going to be the leaders here. You're going to be the ones that figure this out. That's the real exciting part of it,
Yeah, I just think I just saw a moving extra right behind you, Bernie.
I'm paying my wife to do crosses behind me. Yes.
Big crosses.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not in SAG though, so I'm okay.
Non-union.
Yeah. Non-union.
Well, Bernie, I sure like to hear from some of the viewers their way.
Give us your thoughts. Please give us your thoughts.
I sure like to hear from some of the viewers in regards to their pathway for financial relief from the government. Oh. It's been an uphill role for myself. Getting on unemployment and then applying for the PPP loan, or the 3P loan, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. It's been a tough road, and the unfortunate part was they had to ram this loan and this loan entity to all of us so quickly. There weren't any rules or regulations set up fast enough in place. And when I tried to ask my banker for help, they said, no, we can't give you any answers because we don't want to be in a liability position of giving you a wrong answer.
Yeah.
So it's been rough. It's been really rough. I'm sure a lot of the viewers out there, they're probably going through the same mess as myself and yourself, Bernie, and Tony.
Well, I have received no money whatsoever from anybody. I haven't got my $1,200. I haven't got my unemployment I applied for. The PPP hasn't come in. Nothing. I have nothing. For 2 months, I have had no income whatsoever. And it's getting tight. I sit here, honest to God, and this will be another one Tony hears over and over. But I sit here at 69 years old, and I have no idea what my future is going to be. And I know I should be scared shitless, of that very fact. But strangely enough, I'm kind of excited by it. I've got to tell you, I just feel like literally there is so much potential out there that it's kind of breaking through me. You know what I mean? Look, here's what I think, guys. Here's what I think. You want something actionable? Let me give it to you right now. You need to spend every day on the phone with someone you know. And that is, you call up your inner circle first and you work out from there. You compare stories. You listen to what's happening to people. You do the rumors. You do everything. And then as you go out of your circle, you level up and you talk to people that were bigger players than you. You try to get them on the phone, find out what they're thinking, find out what they're doing, find out, and keep pushing that level up. Find out how the thing is changing and how you can service. I tell this to a lot of guys that are my age. They all have the same problem. They want to do what they've been doing for 20 years. But I will tell you this, that's over. And even if somebody else does it, and they will, they should be 20 years younger than you, okay? And your role is to mentor them and groom them for the success. And it's not about teaching them, what filter to use in this or that. Yeah, there's some of that. But it's more like, how do you steer the ship through the troubled waters? How do you cut through the wave instead of getting alongside of it and having it tip you over? You know what I mean? You've got to be teaching these people. You've got to put yourself out there. I for the first time in my life, have taken a couple coaching clients. You know what I mean? And they're different. They're actually different ages. But I've done that, and it has taught me so much. There's a lot that I assume people know. There's a lot that I assume that they think like I do, and they can easily put it in order. But the world is a jumble for them, and I remember viewing the same thing myself in the same way. That's what I'm talking about. Get out there and start helping people. At the same time, you'll be helping yourself and build, build, build. Build the new community. You're starting over. It's all new. Build the new community.
Yeah, it's true, Bernie. You know, when you talk about making a phone call every day, it's so important. I made a phone call to one of our good friends, Ted Baker, and I said, "Hey, have you got your 1200?" He goes, "Yeah, I got my 1200." I said, "Oh, well, I haven't got mine." I said, "Well, what are you doing different?" And he said, "Try putting capitals for your street name, all caps." And I put that in, and it seemed like I got a little further down the line. So every little phone call you make could be just another key to another door to swing open. So it's really important to stay in contact.
Excellent example, Gary. And that's what I'm talking about. You'll get these little breadcrumbs throughout your trail. Follow them. See where they take you. Because I will tell you, there's a plan here. And nobody knows it. That's the beauty of right now. Nobody knows the future. You're in charge just like the CEO is in charge. Nobody knows. You can figure it out for yourself. You can find where you fit, and you can find what you need to make in that. Tony, do we got anybody on the line?
Yeah, actually, we got a couple of comments, but there was something I did want to say. And on top of all this, you know, with networking and staying connected and making sure you're seeing what you're doing, you know, what's going on with your network of people, don't forget yourself. I think there's a lot of opportunity right now, and there's a lot of free resources out there for you to learn new skills and to brush up on skills that maybe you've left, or maybe you purchased a piece of software that you just never had time to get into. Like, now is the time to sort of delve into those things that maybe you pushed off or left behind or just didn't have time to do because you were so busy with your job. Ron Sill, actually, I love this comment. Some of us older guys that embrace new technology have a wealth of experience that will cross over. History cannot be ignored. I think that's very good.
Absolutely.
So true.
Absolutely. And listen, I'll tell you, to anybody who's younger out there, hit every old guy up you know. Number one, they will tell you everything they know. I assure you of that. You know what I mean? But hit them up with some specifics. Ask them some specific things. And I'm not usually talking about how to do something. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, too, the older guys can learn a lot from the newer guys. There's a new way of making media out there. It's not the old way, okay? It's the new way. And you guys, us older guys, can learn that as well. But ask them about politics. Ask them about that rise up. You know, ask them about that confidence, because they started out with no confidence too. They thought they were in a great big tank that they were the smallest fish in. Everybody feels like that. And I would like to say to the younger people, get over that. You know what I mean? Get over the fact you are in charge here. You're in charge. You're running the place now. Look at it that way. Think of that way. You know what I mean? There's my poor wife running to.
Yeah, we got a lot of activity here. That's a lot of people chiming in.
Yeah,
Ben Stanley, hi guys. Got my stimulus check 2 weeks ago. Still waiting on unemployment.
Ben Stanley.
Yeah. David Weber got my stimulus and got my UI because he jumped on it right away. Very smart move. Let's see. William Primrose, I know, and this goes back to something I think we were talking about on the Wednesday show, Bernie. I would suspect a new crew member on set disinfection specialist with a van full of cleaning equipment and gear. So we were just talking about that on the Wednesday show.
That's right, and that's something Gary and I are looking into very seriously as well. We have taken some steps to research that, and I feel that's a whole new category. You know, it's a whole new category. Another thing, Tony, you and I have been doing this, and Gary does this. We all live stream, and we have been taking that almost secondary, like a hobby, for now. Now we're getting all this input from people asking us about live streaming, what they can do, how big it gets, and all that stuff. And, this is very exciting for me. And I realized I've been leaving a lot on the table. I should have been on this and much more active in that as an asset to do that. So
Yeah.
the live streaming, the mentoring, the coaching, you know what I mean? All those are really, really ripe areas for right now.
Yeah. Well, I think
Absolutely.
we're kind of taking our own advice now and jumping in and learning things that we ourselves have put aside. We bought gear, in the last few months for specific purposes that, unfortunately, because we were so busy, never touched. So,
Well,
yeah.
let me talk to that. Gary, Tony, and I all met this morning over at Gary's house. And because I bought Tony my live view setup that I bought, I don't know, before the end of the year. So it was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We looked at it, but it's essentially unboxed. And I brought that over for Tony, and he's going, wow, you've got everything here. We can go right out into the field right now with a helicopter, a drone, right, doing aerial shots. We could go 4 cameras. We could bring up to 6 people on the same cast from outside on their computers or other locations. We could run any number of websites on there. We could run graphics. We could run photos or B-roll. Right now, we could do that from anywhere, any parking lot, any place that had was close enough to lock onto a tower. All 3 of us could do that immediately.
Yeah. Yep.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
We've been sitting on that. You know what I mean? Because we're used to doing what we're doing. And this is the rethink time. This is the shake it up. Shake it up.
Yeah, we all know that moving forward, live events will probably have minimal audiences. So how do you get the message to the audiences? It's got to be through virtual live streaming. It's got to be done that way, and your company has to be set up right to do that. And we have to go through a lot of processes and protocols to get the good show on for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Up to a point, and here's how it works too. There are big services that can take those things and put all those pieces together. Where we would come in is to be the production side of that, where we're producing your production to give to that service. You know what I mean? And that's really the exciting thing about it, because we have been doing that our whole career.
That's right.
We have been shooting the events. We have been broadcasting the events. We have been doing that live for all this time. And we know how to put all those elements together. And I think, once again, everything happens like this, and things happen in this sort of thing. In other words, the tidal wave washes in. It's all going to go back out to sea, and then you're standing there with a rebuild. Well, it comes down to, what do you know how to do? What do you know how to do? And the one thing I've always loved about the production community is when you ask the question to somebody, if you didn't have your job, could you do something for someone and make money? And you know what? The answer is almost always with our people, yes.
Sure.
Yes. That's true. That's true.
You're not relying on a job. You're not relying just on the same old thing, So it's very exciting. Anything else right now, Tony? Is there anybody?
Oh, geez. Yeah. We got a lot of people chiming in. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Give me some names. Let's hear who's calling in.
All right. David Weber. I think when production starts, there will be a boon. Everyone will want to shoot to catch up. Problem is it will happen at the same time. There will be a lull in business, just waiting for the go-ahead to start working again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll come. When it comes back, it's going to come back. There's going to be a trickle. There's going to be a slow move, and then it's going to be gates open. Yeah, it's going to be, and you could be 12 different people on Wednesday, right?
True.
Come in like that.
And I think the opportunity is going to be phenomenal. And one unfortunate, I think, drawback, and you and I, Bernie, have talked about this numerous times, is that there's going to be a lot of attrition in this business because people aren't going to be able to wait this one out. There's a lot of people out there who are just, who are past, they're probably negative in their accounts now and just can't afford to wait this thing out to be able to get back to work, and are going to just end up moving out of state and taking other jobs. So, I mean, there's going to be, unfortunately, for those people, I wish, we could all hang this out, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those of us who can and will ride this one out.
Yes. And the people who come in too, those new people who come in, there could be a very steady rate of up.
Yeah, Ben Stanley, right on it there. There will be a general culling of the ranks. No, it's I think it's kind of
true. That's true. And Ben Stanley will know when I say this, but there'll be a lot of big krill ball out there too.
There's some good stuff here. Angelique Costanza, thanks for watching.
Angelique, absolutely.
She's been hanging
Thank
with
you,
us for a long time. Contact clean room cleaners and biotech cleaners. There are industrial standards to use. That's very true. Yeah. There's things that we're all going to have to learn.
Yeah. I just really come back to the opportunity here once again. I just think if you can get your mind unstuck from what you've learned, this is the one thing is like, I think the best thing I can do is try to unlearn everything I've learned. And I don't mean about my knowledge. What I mean is the way I operate. It's funny. I can't tell you how personally I have been proud to be a gaffer and know how to light and run a business and run a crew and get a set moving and bring it online and push it through, how it goes. So I've been always so very, very proud of that. And it was a big part of my personality. And I have to say, as I was getting older, because that was coming in and affecting it, but this thing has taken it. And for the first 2 weeks, I kept thinking back, when is it going to come back? When can I get another shot at it? When maybe I will go out when it comes back, maybe this. And it just sort of just totally took me to another place. And I started realizing, no, the world is telling me to move on. Don't kid myself. It is time. Take the message and run with it. So that has been so very, very, very important for me and my growth, I think. So as I said, I'm actually excited right now about the potential out there. I think it's huge.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bernie. I agree. We're going to have to reshape our business to a certain degree. And, I've been getting emails from my clients out there asking them, they're actually asking me, what is my protocol when I come into their facility? So I've got to come up with a protocol list assuring them that, my crew's set, my gear is wiped down and ready to go. And moving forward, I think that's going to be everybody's, issue at that point.
Yes. And I would like to once again reiterate that is the opportunity to raise your rates. And you know what? Something I'll tell you what, I wouldn't even want it to come back. If it could come back just like it was, I wouldn't want it. I think our system is broken on a lot of levels. I think it's broken economically. I think it's broken politically. I don't think that people get a fair shake in this world if you're under 10 million plus. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of headwinds. And Gary, you and I are a couple of old guys. We should be so invested in this economy. And we both look at it and feel it's unfair to everybody. So there's a lot I'd like to see gone. And I think this is the action is going to take, this action is going to make that happen. I don't want to paint the picture of it's all roses either. There are going to be some very difficult times for all of us as individuals in the course of these next several years. I don't want to, put lipstick on a pig for that. Right. It's an analogy.
Or but on an elephant.
I will tell you, if you're going to roast that pig, you know what I mean? You're going to have to gut it too. So, I would just say that there's going to be some tough times, but there's also going to be a payoff in the future. But the people who are entrenched in this economic society right now are going to fight hard to keep it. And I think we all got to band together and forget our differences in a lot of cases and take back our power.
Yeah. Bernie, when it all, when all got started, we were going 100 miles an hour in production. And then, boom, we put on the brakes, and now we're at 0 miles an hour. So I'm just hoping that the slow ramp up works. I just hope it does, because people are just going to be tiptoeing back into video productions, and is that going to be enough to get video productions rolling again? That's my question.
Well, Gary, my take on that is that it is going to be a slow ramp up, and it's not, the floodgates are not going to open at first. No, I think it's going to be a process, but there's also going to be a point at which the demand for product will become so great that the marketplace has to supply it in some fashion. And Absolutely. That's when I think the flip will happen. And that's when the new people will have to be brought in. Anybody who knew anything about it before is working 24/7. But I think this is the one most important thing. Make sure you're ready for that floodgate to open. I don't know if anybody would be right now. Unless you've really rethought your role, if you've really rethought your money, if you've really rethought your goals and how you can be the most effective, then you're ready. But if you haven't done that, you need to do that.
Right. Yeah. And the shape of the business coming out of this is going to change. That's for doggone sure. And a lot of people are using Zoom or other platforms to deliver their message. So, where a budget's going to be at that point. They're thinking, oh, well, hey, we can do it for free on Zoom. Why do we have to hire, a company to come in? So that's going to be
lowered. There's a lowered expectation right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, guys, that's where I differ with you. I think that is our best asset. Let me give you an example too, and it directly involves me. I started this live streaming with a 3-camera live setup, rolling other people in from remote locations, doing the graphics like you see my name on there, and running B-roll and reviewing pictures and doing all of that. You know what people were interested in when I was doing that 3.5 years ago? Podcasting.
Yes.
Everybody had to have a podcast. They didn't want the picture. They didn't want all the bells and whistles. And I was sitting out there thinking I was doing the coolest stuff on the market. I still believe that. I was doing it because I believed in it. I thought it was better than podcasting. I had come from a podcast, and I did that. But you know what? I was way out in front of that market. Mm-hmm. I was too far out in front of that market. Facebook had just started live streaming, and I was live streaming on Periscope. I was, on Meerkat. I was way out there, way in front of that. So
we're still streaming on Periscope, Burnie.
What's that?
We're still streaming on Periscope, Burnie.
Yes, I am. I'm still streaming on Periscope. Yeah, and YouTube now. YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, right, and Periscope. Yep. Yeah. So those are the 4 platforms. But what I'm trying to get at is nobody saw what I was doing or excited about it because they had already related it to TV. Now that they're on Zoom and they're learning about the medium, they're thinking, hey, how do I upgrade this? So here's the advantage for us is don't sink back.
Right.
Bring the market up. That's the magic. That's the magic. And yes, right now it'll be 1 in 100 that want to do that. But then it's going to be 1 in 10 that want to do that.
Right.
And then 1 in 5. And the marketplace will come to you. I truly believe that.
Yeah, that's great, Burnie. And what are the advantages of hiring a company that does live stream switching and providing, PowerPoint, slides, roll-ins? How's that a bigger advantage over using Zoom?
Well, let me tell you this, and this is getting very close to your favorite form of media, Gary, infomercial. So
yeah.
but what I'll tell you, and this is something that I'm offering. I know you can offer this too. You know what I mean? But is that it's remote streaming. If I thought about this a lot. I've thought a lot about live streaming. But if you took everybody on one side of the line who wanted to be a thought leader or had a message they wanted to put out to a community or their tribe or somebody's, and you put them all there, and there was 100 people over there on that side of the line. The people that could do it effectively and stream and bring in other materials, run a room, and be able to interview people, that would bring that group of 100 down to 10. Okay? Those 10 people are probably in the marketplace already doing that. That leaves 90 people over there who would be open to remote streaming services. And that means somebody remotely could call up their computer, bring a guest on with them, broadcast that, and pull in all the B-roll assets, all the nameplates, all of the rich media that they would have, and bring that to them for a fee, for a service, which would fit into their model because, number one, they don't have right now they have the time, obviously, to learn. That's why you've seen such a great adoption rate. But when they're busy, it'll be even more important to talk to all those people, but they don't have the time or the space. So that's what I know we all want to do is provide that service. And that's how I see a market being built. I'm lucky enough to live this long to sort of be on the ground floor to actually see a market starting to come to fruition. And it's so exciting to see it right there in front of my eyes. And here's the other thing. I'm not doing it because I think it's a great market. I'm doing it because I love live streaming so much that I started it 3.5 years ago.
Yes.
What you really can do, and you feel passionate about something that you really love.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the deal, Burnie. A lot of the big corporations out there, they might have meetings once a month, quarterly, their shareholders meeting, where they're not going to have an IT person full time to do their live streaming. So that's where I think, that maybe our services can be used within their corporations to bring us in, and we're finely tuned, finely polished type of company that can provide a good stream to all their employees.
Right. And really, I think it's, all media, and I mean, this is what you do, Gary, I do with lighting and all that sort of stuff. We create an environment of acceptance. In other words, we try to move people emotionally towards a conclusion, whether it's entertainment or sales or anything like that. It's about delivering a message. It always comes down to the same thing. It's delivering a message. We are the people who do that. We know how to do that. We know the right ways and the wrong ways. We know, and a lot of times it depends upon how much you want to spend or how important the message is to how big of a group of people. But we have the skills to do that. And that's why it's important. Look, you're never going to make somebody change a Zoom call that only needs to be a Zoom call. We're not talking about that.
Right.
You know, we want to do something that's richer, when it's more meaningful, when it has a bigger play within your company. And, you know, this is what I've always talked about in the new media market. You know what I mean? This is how I look at it. First of all, you have disposable media, right? And that disposable media works like this. You go out with your phone or a short piece, and that lives on social media, and it lives on YouTube, and maybe 1 million people over the course of 4 years, 5 years, 10 years go and unwrap that little disposable media, consume it, and then they toss the wrapper away and you never see it again. That's disposable media.
Right.
You got to make that stuff every day. That's a Facebook post. That's all kinds of different things, but it's out there every day. Then you have a level that's where you're talking to your culture. And that is something that comes out maybe once every 2 weeks. Maybe it's once a week, but it's talking to your community and your culture, and you're really delving out that. Then there are the things that are either quarterly or bi-yearly. And that is the one where, as a company, that you're out and you're challenging your industry. In other words, you're defining the question, okay? And the person who defines the question wins the answer every time.
Every time.
We are in that kind of market. It's not just about noise. Everybody can make noise. Everybody is making noise. Everybody's doing a lot of disposable media. Yeah. But what does it take to break through?
Exactly. Yeah. Stan Garber, I see mentioned good lighting, good makeup.
Absolutely.
These web meetings. So yeah, Stan, you got it. You're hitting right on the nose.
Yep. Well, it's the whole package.
Yeah, I think at some point, I mean, these tools work now, and I think at some point people are going to start yearning again for experiential media. You know, they're going to want to be not necessarily entertained, but I think we're going to start yearning for the things that will keep attention. You know, it's so easy to tune out for these Zoom meetings and these Skype meetings and, you know, all of this stuff. But, you know, if we can provide that experiential that will keep the attention, I think that's, again, people will start yearning for that at some point. We only got a couple of minutes left, so why don't we get a couple of these comments in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Ben Stanley. Spectators are now a thing of the past for live sports. Long lens stream corporate shows, robocams, comedy will suffer, game shows. Yeah, we already know that. We've already seen a lot of those. Things have shut down.
Yeah. I'm playing with an idea of a live game show that I might introduce to a few people.
I was going to mention Saturday Night Live. The last couple of weeks, you know, they've tried to do virtual, and I'll tell you, it was hard to watch.
With comedy, that's pretty tough. Yeah,
that was rough.
Yeah. Let's see, William Primrose. Yeah, we have to rebuild our business to fit in with the new direction because of the virus. Yeah, the best thing you can do is offer your service that takes care and how to handle the equipment and how they are on set. Have a set procedure for unload and reload.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, is anybody else, Tony?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people jumping in, which is fantastic. You know, and I'm glad everybody is really digging into this.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, I think one thing I'd just like to leave, because I know we're getting is I'd like everybody to go into Onset Lighting, Onset University, which is part of Onset Lighting, of course, but Onset University, sign up. You don't have to pay any money. On August 1st, if you don't want to get charged, just unsubscribe. You're completely free. But right now, I would love for you to come over there to Onset University, join up, take advantage of my intellectual property there, the things that I teach, the things that where I tell you just how I did what I did, you know what I mean? And that's valid in any market. And go there and then join us on the Facebook page of Onset University, because I really want to start having a real rich dialogue with people, old and new, where we can exchange ideas and we can see potential. And there's advantages that you'll get from Onset Lighting, too, that we'll have like stuff that's coming up. You'll see it before other people see it. We'll get insider news and all that stuff. So that's coming up. Hope you go over there, onsetuniversity.com.
Cool.
Right on. Great show. Awesome.
Yeah. Good show, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Tony, for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody for watching.
Don't be late next time, Gary.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Yeah.
I'll have the buttons on my computer. Which one's the push?
Let's not up my stress level any higher than it needs to be.
Any higher than needs to be.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Everybody, thank you.
Take care. Be safe, everybody.
Right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cut. That's a wrap.